In this first few lessons, I want to make sure you're going to feel comfortable with Camera Raw. Just in case that's the plugin you choose to work with Photoshop, that's the plugin you choose to process your raw images, I want to make sure that you will feel comfortable with it. I'm not working with Camera Raw, I'm working with Capture One, and of course we're going to work with Capture One after these few lessons. These few lessons are for the people who don't have different software, or for people who don't feel comfortable with different software. So I'm going to make sure you will feel comfortable in Camera Raw if I'm talking to you who are not using other software. So first of all, of course, it's not a secret we have to process our raw image and prepare this for our retouching. How I open them? I open them through the browsing bridge. Why I'm doing this? Because the set I keep, as you can see, I keep in separate folder right now. So it's really comfortable to look at the image. That's the first thing. It's really comfortable to store them here, and if you need to have a look, you can easily select the images to compare what's suitable for your work. So that's the advantage of opening your images through browsing bridge. And as long as you work with raw images, you can just double hit or hit right or press Ctrl and hit on the image to open this. Or if you work with JPEG image and somehow you want to work in Camera Raw, then open in Camera Raw. So we're going to jump straight into work right now. I'm going to start with this image maybe. And what you need to know, what you need to do to start good retouching. Let's start with this basic panel. It's not really important that much to know everything about Camera Raw, but basic panel is something that going to stick to you always if you're choosing to work with Camera Raw. Don't worry about the first sliders. What you need to make comfortable for you, answer yourself question, is it comfortable to retouch the skin in the areas that are in the shadows? The answer is not. So what I'm doing as a first step, I really like to bring some of the lights out of shadows. Not too much, because this image is really well done, so we can see everything very clearly, but you don't want to darken this for sure, because it won't be visible. So make it comfortable, make the areas in the shadows nicely visible, just in case if you're going to need to retouch them. Other thing is, we don't have really strong highlights, so I would not do anything here, but if you have strong highlights, I always just lower highlights. Of course, not go up as I did first, but lower the highlights. So it will be also way easier for you to retouch these areas. I'm not going to do this because I don't have such a strong highlights, maybe just few points, and I can easily see everything is visible. And why I'm doing this right now, how I'm going to resolve this later, don't worry, because the contrasts, the highlights and shadows is something you will work later on in Photoshop, and it's going to give you much more control. So in the first steps, these are the first things you should be worried about. Other thing is, you can sometimes lower contrast slightly, because as I said, contrast is something you're going to work later. I don't really want to do this on this image because the contrasts are not that strong. So if everything is well visible, actually you don't have to do that many things in Camera Raw. Exposure you can use just in case if your image is too dark or too bright, you can manipulate with exposure. I don't see this issue right now. So as you can see in this basic panel, I don't really do many things, just these few things. And in the next lesson, we're going to talk about few other important things about Camera Raw and preparation of your image.